is what we're making today. This layered tag was made with just one freebie, and you can grab that freebie in my coffee shop. Alright, in my sample that I made, I used a combination of the Tim Holtz fabric and some of this matting or batting just to give it some bulk. I don't think I'm going to do it for the one we make together, but just know it is an option, and that's what gives you this fun kind of smushy quilted feel. In my sample, I really wanted to show you that you can use the freebie from today, and if you have the blue palette kit, you can use that, as well as the Tim Holtz fabrics, and it layers up beautifully and it makes a really fun interactive tag. For today, we are going to use the blue palette freebie layer tag, the blue palette kit, and I pulled out some blue fabric from my stash. Okay, I've cut out and inked my tag pieces. A couple things I wanted to show you. I went ahead and stamped on the blank label. And then this one, if you have a 1-inch punch, you can go ahead and use that to punch out this circle, which makes it a lot easier. Okay, now let's get started. This layer tag probably wouldn't fit in a journal. It would be fun on an easel, displayed in your craft room, or on your coffee table. You could put a gift card and gift this to someone. So those are just some options, but it probably, unless you took it apart, it probably wouldn't, or if it became like the front of the cover. So let's make a version of the tag that you could either keep as a layer tag or take apart and then use as pieces in your journal. So we won't use the batting for this one. We're still going to use, if you have fabric scraps, pull those out, lace, and I'm also going to use the blue palette kit. Okay, so here are the pieces. Let's start bigger to smaller. And for this one, I think I want to make a hidden pocket. So let's see. Oh, and I also printed my freebie on, I'm not sure if it's 100 or 90 pound cardstock. I'm not sure. One of those. Also on cardstock, just to give it a little more oomph. I didn't print all of them on the cardstock because those will be great for layering. So I'm going to use this one on the back, and let's, you know what, let me trim this off. I'm going to use it on the back, and then I'm going to glue the 3 sides, and then that will become a pocket. If you are a subscriber to the newsletter, check your email and or your spam. There's a 20% discount code that you can use towards any kits in the shop, and if you don't have the blue kit, you could use it towards that. Alright, I'm going to just trim. I could have cut this with my paper trimmer, but here we are. Do it this way. Okay, keep your scraps. We can use them later. Alright, so now I can flip this over. You can always trim up if we have excess. And we're going to add a thumb notch. I guess I needed my circle punch after all. So I'm going to add a thumb notch. That. Now we can ink this up a little bit. And let's ink around the edges. I will be taking this to my sewing machine. I just think it gives such a fun extra texture. We'll do that after we get some pieces assembled. Alright. So then this will go like this. And then let's go ahead and we're gonna glue here. If you don't want, maybe you want a taller tag, so maybe you want to glue here, 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 and here. Let's try and get right to the edge. However, it doesn't always work. All right, and then put this on. And then if you have pieces like I do, kind of hanging over, go ahead and trim those off. Okay, so there we go. Fun. Now, do we want to just decorate this, or we could even turn this into another pocket? Let's see. I have this scrap. All right, I think I'm going to use a bit of this scrap and some of this page. And let's make kind of a layered tag, not tag, what am I trying to say? Pocket. So I'm just going to rip some of this. And then this is going, oh, well, we could do like a side and then, yeah, let's do that. Let me show you what I mean. I'm going to rip a random shape. And then this we could have as a side tuck and then a tuck here in the pocket. Stability is what I'm thinking. Or should it be okay? Here, let's do this, and then we could have this kind of peeking. Let's rip this. And then that could maybe kind of layer up like that. All right, so now let me ink my edges. And then we'll have a funky ripped edge pocket. Guess I don't need to ink that. That's not going to show. Let's glue this one on first. And then we can see where we're at. Don't want to cover my thumb notch. So we'll do that. I'll trim off this bottom. And this side. We could wrap this around to the back and then layer it up with something, or do we want to trim it? Let's go ahead and trim it. Just because this pattern was getting a little lost, right? You can kind of, it's hard to see. So we'll do something else. Okay, so now we have our pocket here. And then let's layer these up, and this will be a pocket. So I'm going to glue this on. And I think I was going to make it a double pocket, but I think I'm just going to add glue. Since we're going for the stability thing, I'm just going to add glue on the whole thing. But I do want some of that to show. All right, and then we're going to glue this on here. I like having some of this. Do we want it? Yeah, let's do it like that. I was going to say maybe leave it up, but I think we'll go like that. And have it so it kind of butts up to the top of this one. So yeah, we'll kind of go even here. Let's stick that on. And then I'll trim the rest of this off. All right, and this piece right here, I think I'm gonna rip and ink. There we go. Okay, so now this is a tuck, but this isn't. Is it gonna look like it's a tuck? Yeah, we might have to make it so it doesn't. But that's a side tuck, or if it was a small piece of ephemera, that was pretty fun. And then we have this. is a tuck. So even if you didn't want to do a layer tag, you could use the tags in different ways, which is really fun. You can even put a tag in here. Okay, that looks good. What else? We could use this up here. The little scrap bits. Maybe on this side. Kind of diagonal. And then I'm going to rip this. Maybe we can add that here. Okay. And then we'll trim that off like that. Okay. That's looking pretty cute. Alright, so we'll come back and decorate, but let's look at this other side. So maybe we can find something. Use some of this on the sample. That's kind of cute. Make it another pocket on this side. That's cute. Should we try that? Cute, cute. If I kind of put it at an angle. There we go. And then when I sew it, it will help reinforce it. All right, let's try and glue it on and see what happens. There we go. Yeah, that's gonna look cute. And then we need to make sure this is glued up here. Give it a second. Stay there. Stay there. And then let's trim this off. Cute. So that's on that side. And then this is a tuck spot back here. That's really cute. And then we need some further embellishing. We also need 2 tags. So we'll come back to that. All right, so let's let this dry and we'll come back to you. Let's see. Maybe we want to add this paper. We could also layer a couple up. Kind of like a Gale whack and stack tag. We're just doing one. So let's see. I'll take some of this. So that could be a layer, that could be a layer. And how about some of this? Like that. Alright, so this I'm going to put on first. So it's not really a whack and stack Gale tag, but it's a layer with layers on it. And then I'm not going to make this a pocket. I'm just going to glue. Like that. I want that straight maybe. And then alright, and then we'll flip it over. And then we'll trim off the extra. Just kind of burnishing it on there. Make it nice and stuck to the paper. Alright, let's see. Oh, should I have inked it? I should have inked it. Whoops. I have this kind of coming up a little blue. Yeah, I should have. Well, I didn't. I think it's a little too late. I could do sewing across here and here, and I think that would help that. I just saw this scrap on my desk and I thought, ooh, that may work. Put that there. And I have another strip. I have this one. Love our strips. And then what if we took a strip of fabric or lace to give it a different texture? This is even smaller. Oh, here we go. Here we have some perfect size scraps. Okay. So a little ink. And let's glue this on. I like the combination of using both paper and the lace. So it's fun. And also fabric. Ink that so our edges stand out a bit. We'll layer that on. I want some of the first one to kind of peek through this one, so I think I'm gonna place it so that you can see it peeking through on both sides, like that. And then this, do we want it right on top or next to it? It's kind of layered up bits. Okay. Trim it there. And there. Alright, and then we'll come back and add to that as well. I think I'm going to sew these and then we'll add our final decoration on the front. And what do we want? Maybe this one we have with fabric. I think this, some of this ticking fabric would be cute. Just cut a piece of this. It's very thin fabric. Since it's so thin, I'm going to use my finger and just kind of spread it out. And push and kind of even out this fabric like that. There we go. So I can trim. Not exactly glued on straight, but it'll be okay. We have our collage tags, and you can use this even as a cut apart. So let's see, I'm going to take this tag, ticket I mean, it's a ticket. Now I could put these on here. And that one, I think I'm going to trim that off. Alright, and then I like this number. Just had that other piece. So what if we put that on our tag somewhere? And a little glue. Again, we'll trim it and decorate it some more. There's that one's getting ready for the sewing machine. And then our last one Let's use a scrap to glue to the back of this. And then we'll trim. Oh, you know what? See what I did? So let's add something here to kind of hide. I did that. I have this thin, it's a thin, where's the end? I have this piece. Will that hide it? Yeah, that'll work. And then I'll trim this off. Alright, next thing I'm going to do, oh, you know what, I just thought of something. I'm going to take these pieces to the sewing machine, but let's make 2 tags. And I think I'm also going to want to take some ephemera to my sewing machine, if I can find it, and I'll be right back. Alright, let's make some tags to go in the pockets. In the blue palette kit, there's some tags, and maybe this one, or I think I like this one, could go here. And this again, I printed on cardstock. I think that looks cute. And then we'll need something here. And then this tag fits this one. However, we're going to try and do this stack tag, but let's use this size as our base. I have some scrap cardstock. So let's just trim this. And so I'm just going to use my tag as a template really quick. And then let's see. Oh yeah, I keep thinking that's a pocket. I should have made that a pocket. So we have this one and this one. So I need 2 of these. Will this work? Yeah. Okay, and then what do we want on these tags? Take a look at our papers. I haven't used the egg paper yet. Ooh, maybe that'd be kind of fun. Yeah, look, it's pretty perfect. It's a little short, but we could always trim off the bottom. So I'm gonna cut this out. Little skinny. So, you know what? Here we go. Let's do that. It's easier. Let's just glue this onto here. And then we'll, instead of a tag, we'll just have a French bingo card as something put in the pocket. Now we can trim this. And then we still have our 2 tags. And then we can ink. Yeah, so there's a journaling card. Let's add something. Let's do this. So these are the fussy cuts, and I've cut them out a couple times in the different sizes. Like that. Maybe the bird. Nope. Pick this up. And I accidentally printed them too small. So that's an option too. The way I did that on accident was I did, instead of landscape, it did portrait, and then I selected two. I wanted it to print twice. So then there's a nice and tiny ephemera if you want to do that as well. All right. Do we want something on this side? I'm not sure. I think I'm going to leave it like that. But then this can go in a pocket. I think I like it there. All right, so now, where'd my tag go? Let's do this one. And have some scraps. Maybe we just use our scraps for this one. Let's do that. I'm not sure what that is, but I'm going to go with it. I'm going to cover the top of this part. Like that. And then put this down here. I'm going to overlap these two. And then I'm going to put this. Let's turn this off and then I'll add that. Could do it now. I kind of like it off to the side. Yeah, a little ink. Glue. Maybe there. We go. Trim that off right there. So we want this weight on the back. Really like this fabric that I found in my stash. I think I'm going to add this to the back. So don't forget those fabric scraps. Smush. Okay, that looks good. And then I'm going to sew that as well. And then was that it? Was that all I needed? I have this one, that one, and then my side one. I think so. Yeah, might need another one when we're done sewing. Okay. All right, they are all sewn, and I trimmed off the, words are hard. I trimmed off the threads. Some of them I left a little long, but not crazy long. So here's this one. That one with the sewing. I did a little zigzag right here. And I did white. Maybe I should have, this one I didn't sew. Maybe I should have used black, but. And then this one I did kind of follow the line here. And then on this side I did some zigzag over the lace. Okay, so now let us do what? Let us decorate. That's what we're doing. All right, let's see. We have this. I need a stamp. Let me grab a stamp. All right, stamp the word joy. It's a small area, so I needed something pretty tiny. And then that's gonna go here. And then let's add something to the side over here. And remember in the kit, I did make things small, medium, and large. I think this is the large flower. I think that looks pretty nice right there. We can layer it up, maybe. A little ink. Like that. And let's see. I think maybe the circle. There we go. And then we could put this tag. I think that was the one. Put it this way. Or which way do we like it? I think if we do this way, we need to add something to it. How about a butterfly and some lace? Here we go. Or, oh, yeah, let's do that. We have this little piece left over from the other corner. Just cut some of this. That could be behind it. And then a little ink on a butterfly. Yeah. There we go. And then either side, but let's go with this one. That can go like that. Do we need something up here? Maybe just a little piece of this. Again, I'm going for some texture. And it just kind of follows through with the bits of lace. There we go. Is that too much? I think it's okay. That's okay, right? I think so. And then this side we have this tag. No, that is the one we're folding over in our, same with this one. Oh, this is what we had here. Should we add something to this? Could add a little topper using this piece. That works for me. Not a lot of writing space on this card, but it's pretty cute. There. And yeah, I think that's good. That's good. I think we need a little ink right around here. Okay. There we go. And there we go. Do we need something down here? Let's use some of this paper. Ink it up. And then we can layer there's the one that I stamped. That might work. And then we'll glue this on. I don't want this to get stuck since there's holes. And then we'll put nature. Oh. I'll just tuck it in a little bit. All right, so that's good. I like that. And now let's go on to this one. And, all right, I had to take care of my sticky glue fingers. What if we do the little flip like I did on my other one? I did it with a piece of ephemera and then had a hidden piece behind it. But with this little tag and then a couple hinges. There's one. Now I'll trim this one just a little bit. And there's the other. I'll include these. I want it to fold this way. So the folded part will go on the outside. A little glue. And my hinge. And then same thing on the top one. There we go. And then let's cover this with I'm going to glue. I'll stick that right on here. And then we will cut this out. So now when this opens, it will look like that. And then I'm going to want to hide my tabs. So what do we want? Well, let's go ahead and ink this again. And then let's glue it on. What do you want to cover it with? I have this lace. That might work. Okay with that. And then I liked having the gal kind of hidden behind there. And her up a bit. And she can be there. And then let's add a flower. Yeah, like that. And this will kind of peek out. Like that. Straighten that up a bit. And then I really kind of liked having the piece of ephemera that it could tuck into. This is what I used before. Could also put it up there. Ooh, I like that better. Yeah, let's do that. All right, then we'll glue half of this on. Yeah, that looks good. And then like that. Cute. Let that dry. Okay, so there's that one. And then do we want something on this side? We have the flower and the dragonfly. There we go. It's cute. So there's that side and there's that side. Yeah. All right, and then this one, I think I'm going to take some of the stamps and cut these out. On my other one, I used fabric stamps, but you can also use, where did it go? Right here. These are fabric stamps, but you can also use the paper version. And then it's like more ephemera. So I'll cut a couple of these. All right, then let's add these stamps to the back. Just gonna do what I did before, just kind of layer them up a little around the tag. Like that. Kind of subtle with this background, but I think it looks pretty fun. And then on this side, maybe we may add her. She's the larger version. There we go. Cute. And then the last one, we have this and this. So a smaller bird. There we are. The smaller bird would look cute. Just like that. I think that's all I'm going to put there. And then on this side, or kind of like this teacup, and that it's kind of big and going off the edge. I think that's kind of fun. All right, so now that we have it decorated, we want to punch our holes so that we can add the ring closure at the top. And when you do this, you want to keep in mind that you want your tags to flip. So you don't want to punch your hole too far down. So I don't know, a smidge. Like a 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch. Yeah, like 1/4-ish of an inch down. I'm gonna eyeball the center. And then I'm not gonna use eyelets. If I had a bigger ring, I could, but because this ring is smaller, if I have eyelets, I think it will get too bulky and then my tags won't work. So I'm not gonna do that. This one. And then fabric, you're gonna have to get my other scissors. You're gonna have to cut out. Maybe if your crocodile is newer, but you might have to cut out the fabric. And this fabric's so thin, it's not really cooperating. There we go. And then our last guy. Okay, and then we can assemble it. So I think I'm gonna have this on the back. And then we'll do that. And then that will go that way. And then our little bird. Ooh, and then we'll close it. And there we go. Now we can add some lace to the top. So yeah, how cute. Let's do the lace and then we'll flip. And then I'll show you a couple variations that you can do. How about this piece? Okay, so let's take a look. We have our bird and our gal, and we'll flip it and I'll show you the other side. There's this piece that flips open. You could journal here, you could put a picture there. And then there's this place, you could add a picture or journaling. You could glue these down, but I think the fact that it frayed a little bit is kind of fun. And then we have this little journaling card. And then we flip it over, and we have this card. And then this one, and this one, and that one. Cute. Alright, so let's say you didn't want all this bulk in your journal. You could, of course, just keep this ring off. And if I were to not put it in my journal, I would then add tag toppers to my tags. But because it's on a ring, I didn't add tag toppers. And you could do, oh, you know what? You know what I did? I stitched through our side pocket. I just realized. I knew there was another tag I needed. So yeah, you don't want to do that. Leave your side pocket open and sew the two pieces separately. Oh my goodness. I was like, wait a minute, I knew there was a reason. That's the reason. But you could make any of these a side pocket tag. But yeah, I think layered is so cute. Alright, so here's the one I made again with the fabric and the foamy squishy, and here is the one I made with just the paper. A lot thinner, so if you had space in a journal, this would work a lot more than this guy. Cute. Using the blue palette. Alright, don't forget to grab the freebie in my coffee shop. The link is in the description. And also the blue palette kit is also in the description. And on Friday, I'm going to take our master boards that we leveled up, and I'm going to make coordinating, I'm thinking this one works really well. I'm going to take the master board and make a coordinating ephemera that could coordinate throughout an entire journal. And don't forget to subscribe to more from Cara Brandon Creations, the colorful world of junk journaling. I hope you have a wonderfully crafty day. Bye-bye. I'll be giving away the 2 tags that I made in today's video at Craft Showdown, which is this Saturday on the Craft Showdown channel. You can find information linked below in the description. It's this Saturday, 9:15 Eastern Standard Time. Come join us for some laughs and some silliness. Hope to see you there.